Hey,
Hey, what's happening?
nothing much. I just wanted to talk to you. So, what's up with you? What's been going on?
Nothing much. Losing hair every day
Yes,
and
you losing hair,
losing
huh?
teeth.
You just
I'm
had
just,
that crown taken out, right? Just a couple
yeah,
days ago.
I'm telling
Yeah,
you, man.
that's crazy. That's crazy.
I eat anything and it seems like another tooth pops off.
Yeah.
But modern technology, they give me new teeth all the time.
So
I,
what'd you think of Verdas's the comedy special where he's doing like half in India and half in New York?
I thought that was a cute touch. It's just that the audience is different, so he won't get the same response for the same joke from both the audiences.
He had
It'll
to
be
he
different.
catered to each audience. Like if you saw the content was different when he was in India and then different when he was in New York too.
Correct. And he might have done it totally differently. He might have had the New York session done today and the India session done 3 weeks ago and then just joined them together.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. I like the ending too, where he was like, "I want to tell," like he was like, "I want to tell you it's like this, but it's not. I want to tell you that it's like that, but it's not." It was kind of cool.
Yeah, it's a good ploy by used by writers and comedians where they'll lead you up the path saying everything's here and then they'll jerk it back and change it and so on.
It's also I
A
liked
good technique.
he looked good too. Like he was like a sophisticated young man. Well, not young. He's like 36. Maybe young by your standard,
He's young by my standards. Definitely.
but not by
He's half
mine.
my age.
He's not half your age. You're
Oh,
not
nearly. I'm getting there.
72.
I'm getting there.
But yeah, he's cool. He wore like the suit and everything, and then the hairstyle. He looked good.
That's the interesting part. Indians always think that when they come to the United States, they gotta wear a suit. They don't have to. There's the other Indians who are kind of little in the know. They wear what is most comfortable for them on the stage. You're sweating like mad in a suit.
Oh, he was sweating like mad. Like he had to dab his like face with the napkin every so often. You could see that.
Yeah. He was sweating like mad, and it's all those bright lights, Klieg lights, and all that stuff that cause you to sweat.
Yeah,
And he could have dressed
exactly.
more comfortably. A t-shirt
Exactly.
and shorts would have been just fine, just like Mr. Iglesias.
Mr. That's a good show. Like,
It's a funny show. It tries
yeah.
to have a moral and all that stuff. It tries to have a good ending. It tries to have a lesson. But who cares? It's just a funny show.
It's like it's funny and it's good and it's not like it's not too above your head, you know? It's just you're right, the jokes are right there. They're just funny humor straight hitting you. Like you can get it in a second. And
But it's not slapstick either.
it's not slapstick either, yeah.
So it's got a little somewhere in the. It's like Veer Das, some of his, not all of his, but some of his comedy was very serious, very intentional, very thought
Political,
provoking,
political, political, serious stuff like that, yeah.
and thought provoking.
Thought provoking too.
So I kind of like that. So you're drinking sugar-free Canada dry ginger ale, I see.
Yeah.
You know what the sugar-free means?
What?
Sugar is for free. They're giving it to you for free. So you're gonna get sucked by all the bad stuff anyway, no matter what.
Yeah, I love this stuff. I love soda in general, you know. Soda's pretty good.
Soda's not very good in general for
Uh,
me
I
because
think so. Okay, the
I get the
sugar.
acid reflux.
Yeah, I mean, the soda it doesn't have sugar. That's like its only benefit. But that's like the only benefit I really care about. You know? Like it comes with all this bad stuff, I don't give a shit. The sugar part, that's all I really care about. It doesn't have any sugar, it's fine.
But they put all that aspartame and all that stuff
Okay,
that goes
I was
in.
okay. I was like you. I was a little kid. I was like talking about aspartame. I went up to someone and I was like, you know, they put aspartame in diet sodas, right? Because I saw him drinking a diet soda. He was like, you would need a bucket of aspartame every day for it to really be harmful to you. A bucket. And I was like, okay. After that, I was like, yeah, you're kind of right. Like it's true.
Well,
I
here's
see
here's
that.
here's what I'm telling you about aspartame and stuff. It doesn't cause any outward immediate damage, but inside it does, and it slowly eats away at things or the other.
Well,
So,
it's
for
a good thing
example,
I
if
only
I
care about the outward.
yeah, if I do the aspartame, I know I get some allergic reaction. I know that certain parts of my body kind of, but let's talk about better things in life. Who's worried about what aspartame
Aspartame content.
causes?
Yeah, like who cares?
Yeah, concept is better than aspartame, and sugar is better than concept.
So, how's work? Anything interesting happen at work?
There's just a ton of work to be done. The interesting thing that has happened at work is that what our team was doing mainly for internal purposes has now taken an external turn, which means that our software has to work for our customers, external customers, customers of the company, which means that it's got to look good, feel good, it's got to be sexy, it's got to be easy to use, it's got all that crazy stuff. So we're doing a 180-degree turn on how we build the software. Earlier, all that mattered was it functions and it works. Now it's got to look sexy. Gosh, what am I going to do? Put a half-naked girl on every screen? I don't know about that.
So, what do you think?
I could get sued for that.
What do you think is the sexiest part about software and computer programming and stuff like that? What makes it so sexy?
I think I'm not sure the word sexy applies.
Yeah,
as
I know, but
easily,
it's kind of
I'd
a cool
say-
concept if you think about it. Like, what do you enjoy the most? Is what I'm really trying to say.
Yeah, the thing that is most enjoyable is you're building something. You're building something that maybe
It's like
one,
tangible. Is that what you're trying to
yeah,
say?
and which maybe one, maybe 1,000, maybe a million, maybe 100 million, maybe a billion people will use.
Okay.
And that makes a difference. I mean, how many of us get a chance to build anything that a billion people use, or even 100 people use throughout our lives? But software is something that lots of people will use. So if you can build something that even 100 people use, that's something.
So you're talking about impact. It has a lot of impact.
It has a lot of impact, and it's very democratic in the sense that it will do the same thing for you as it will do for a rich guy or a poor guy. So software, what it does for a person is the same. Now, different kinds of software does different things, but software in general does the same thing for everybody. It's democratic. It doesn't care about caste, creed, sex, language, whatever, religion, and it does what you program it to do.
Do you think like when you say programming is an art, do you kind of treat it like writing a story? Do you think every program is kind of like some sort of story or like short story or something like that where you're writing it and you're trying to make it like I know you don't care about aesthetics of like how like the fancy the writing is and everything in code, but like do you think of it somewhat like that, like a story?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. So it's got many parts. So the first part is I think programming is an art. You could put science into it, you could put math into it, but you know what? Ultimately, the best code, the easiest code, the fastest code, the nicest code is all based on someone who writes it, and that someone is an artist in that respect of being able to write such code. The other part of whether you treat it like a story or not is that writing software is slightly different in the sense that you're writing software to achieve something. There's a goal. A story is a depiction of events uh, which has an ending, maybe which has a continuation. Writing software is more of trying to solve a problem.
So you're saying there's no
So
cliffhangers in writing code, kind of.
there is no cliffhangers, there's no twists. Oh, you're doing this. Boop! I'm going to make the button vanish, or
Yeah.
I'm going to make it do something else than what you expected, because if you did that, then your software won't work.
It's
for the
more
user.
logical, is what you're trying. It's more a series of events happen, kind of like it's
Exactly. Now, and those
sequential.
series of events can happen in sequence, in parallel, and so on and so forth. All that is good. The part that is interesting is that however small the software is, however little the software is, however big the software is, the challenge is always there in trying to make it do what you want it to do, or what you want it to do for others. It's very challenging. To me, I wouldn't compare it with writing a story. I'd probably compare it with essentially writing a poem. Slightly
Okay.
different. And the reason, I'll tell you the reason why. For example, a sonnet is 16 lines. We know that. We know the cadence for a sonnet too. Haiku, you know what a haiku is. You know exactly how it's written. You can actually program a computer to write a sonnet. You can program a computer to write a haiku. But that is not what poetry is. Poetry is something that gives word to feeling, to emotions. And in that way, software is not necessarily the ABCD steps that you go through. It is how you go through the steps, how you put yourself into a program. And I can tell you that most programmers will take ownership of code they've written, even if it's the worst code, even if it's part of a huge, big piece of code where they wrote small part, they will take ownership of that, no matter what, because they feel linked to it. They've given birth to that little baby. So it's so lots of emotion goes into it.
That's kind of cool. I've never really heard that emotion goes into code. So
well, it doesn't if you're doing it mechanically, but if you're doing it really with intensity, which is what the best programmers do, then it's different. There's a series of books written by Stanford professor called Knuth. He calls it the art of computer programming. He doesn't call it a science, because he and we agree, even though we've never met. And I regard him highly, and he probably never even knows about me. But that's okay. But we both have the same philosophy that computer programming is an art, not necessarily a science. They can teach you all they want in college. They can tell you the rules, the semantics, the syntax, the this and that, and so on and so forth. But to write good code, you have to be an artist.
This is why I love hearing you talk about things you're passionate about, because you know so much and you have like your own original viewpoint on stuff.
So you think we should talk about neurons now?
Neurons? I mean, is it for? I mean, this podcast. Like, do you want me talking about stuff?
How long do podcasts last?
No, I mean, like, it's some research that I'll be doing, right? Do you want me talking about some research that I'll be doing on the?
No, I want us to talk about light things, comedy, fun stuff. Strange things that we saw today. We saw Porsche today.
We saw the what is it?
944.
It was like a G3. That thing looks so cool. It had the spoiler in the back and everything. Like, I'm not a super car guy. I'm just started getting into it. But if I were a car guy, I'd be like going even more crazy over that.
Well,
I was like straining in the like car window and everything just to get a closer look. I was like looking up stuff too at the same time. Like, I really wanted to know more about that car because it looked cool.
And what else? What else happened today that was funny? Was Veer Das was funny.
Veer Das, yeah.
Veer means brave.
Veer means brave.
Das means servant. His name is Brave Servant.
Brave Servant.
That's interesting, isn't it? I bet you were thinking about Vic's Chart House and food when you said Vic Das.
Veer, they're so close together.
No, they're not.
They're okay, but like, okay, I was thinking about Indian restaurants.
See, there you go.
I was thinking about Indian restaurants.
Gotcha.
But Vic, I got the last name right. So I mean, you can't fault me for that. I got the last name right.
So I had a classmate. His name was also interesting. Prabhu Das. Prabhu means God. God's servant. Prabhu Das. And we had another guy. His name was Ashish Das. I don't know what Ashish means. It's probably God again. But so we used to call one guy A dash and the other guy P dash.
P dash.
Ashish Das and Prabhu Das. Ashish Das was a Bengali. Prabhu Das was probably Bihari or something like that. A dash and P dash. That's what we called them.
I had two friends. One was called D2 and one was called D. It was something like D2 New or something like that. And so it was like, this is the better version of D2. And then this is it was kind of weird. Like, honestly, it was kind of weird. But like, we were comparing them and like one of them was the better version of the other person. And in all honesty, they were like not that similar at all. But for the sake of making categories, I guess we just put them in categories.
Yeah.
I try to spend equal time with both of them.
Mm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but it was cool.
So what other stuff did we see today? Or
We had a nice walk, and we saw the walk was in like beautiful nature.
and
It
we
wa-
saw a white.
a white we saw multiple white birds.
Yeah, and they were not ducks or geese. They were something else. They didn't go into the water, or did they? I don't
They
know.
they know they went close, but they didn't actually go in the water. You're right about
So they were
that.
just birds. They were not geese or ducks, which could
Yes,
float on the water or swim in the water.
they
I
could
saw,
fly though. They could definitely fly.
I saw a small duck which tried to get out of the water, and it did not have enough oomph to come out of the water and jump onto the land. So when it tried, its beak hit the concrete wall and fell back.
Oh, I feel sad for that duck now.
Well, and of course, I saw one big duck or goose, whatever it was, put its head under the water. I was waiting. Is it going to lift its head up? When is it going to lift it up? How is it going to breathe? I waited. I waited. I waited. Nope. It's just doing whatever it's doing down there.
I swear, a geese smiled at me. A goose smiled at me. Like I was just walking by doing my own thing. It just looked at me, opened its mouth, but it was not quacking, not hissing. It was smiling. It was actually smiling.
Well,
It was beautiful.
I got a goose to hiss at me.
Yeah, he didn't treat the goose as well as I did.
Oh, I just said, I don't have anything for you. I've got no food. That guy on the bench, even though there's a signboard which says, do not feed the geese.
He was
That
feeding
guy was feeding the geese.
Yeah.
And I was walking by, it said, hey, what about you? I said, no, I got nothing for you. And it hissed at me, and I walked past. Did you know that for the Romans, the geese is special? They don't kill geese
They don't?
because the geese warned them against an imminent attack by
Kind
some
of.
guys.
Oh, it's kind of like how cows are sacred in India.
Cows didn't warn us.
Yeah, I know.
Cows are
Okay.
just sacred because they are farm animals.
I'm talking about the sacredness, not really the warning us or.
Yeah, they're sacred for a different reason. Because they are farm animals and they give milk, and the milk is important. So you kill the cow, you don't get the milk. But killing the
Geese-
cow is a bad thing.
Geese is such a different animal.
Yeah,
to,
geese
like,
don't give milk.
revere. Yeah,
They give
and
eggs,
then
maybe.
like in Egypt, cats were revered. heavily.
Yeah. Why were cats revered? There's a story behind that too.
Tell me. I don't know.
Actually, I don't know either, but I know that cats were revered because there was a story. It's something to do with the religious rites that are being performed, and cat kind of appeared all of a sudden over there from behind the chamber or whatever it is, and they said, "Oh, cats are holy. Boom,
Oh damn.
no killing cats anymore." Also, of course, there was Egypt had a lot of rats, so if they killed the cats, then the rats would grow, and who knows, plague or whatever. So they said, good.
Oh
let's
yeah,
keep
that's
the
true.
cats."
Logical reason for cats being revered.
And logical reason for cows being revered. Logical reason for geese being revered.
Yeah. The geese one is kind of iffy though. Like I could see like myself being a Roman and then a geese being like that, and I'm being like, I'm not listening to the geese at all. Being like, what the hell are you saying? Like, I don't know. It's weird. Like you listen to the geese.
No, they were sleeping.
Oh, they were sleeping.
The Romans were sleeping.
Okay.
These other guys, Eritreans or whoever it is, had come to attack them at night.
Okay.
The geese, they did not know that the geese lived on Capitoline Hill.
Okay.
So when they came to attack them via the Capitoline Hill, the geese were woken up and the geese ran. And the geese, because they were woken up, they started biting and pecking. They made a lot of noise and they started biting and pecking at these Eritreans. And guess that noise woke up the Romans, who then took up their swords and they started fighting. And in the end, the Romans won. And they said, "Oh, the geese saved us."
Okay.
Otherwise, Romans are good at killing all kinds of animals. They'd kill the animals and look at the entrails and say, "Aha, my wife is going to have a daughter. Aha, my wife is going to have a son. Oh, we're going to win this war. Oh, let's put a temple here. Oh, let's kill that guy." They would kill a guy just because the entrails came out
I
wrong.
mean, if you look at it, American or even like most countries kill mice and rats in the same way, but more for scientific purposes.
Not to look at the entrails and say, oh, he's going to
Yeah,
have a nose job or something like that.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of people who go
Like we're
hunting
still doing that shit.
when we're still doing what shit?
We're still killing animals.
Oh, we're killing animals. We don't use their entrails to predict the future. There were days when they use bones to predict the future, tea leaves, and so on and so forth. Right now, we just use AI and machine learning to predict the future.
Oh,
And of course, it's doing exactly what the tea leaves do, telling us everything wrong.
give me an example. I haven't heard about this.
So let's take healthcare, let's take cancer, let's take genes, your cancer in your genes, let's do your genome and so on. And it is all statistical. So it can only tell you that there's an 87% chance. Can't tell you anything for sure as to what's happening, what's not happening. So from that perspective, it is as good as your doctor who looks at you and says, you're okay. There's an 80% chance that you'll get cancer. Or an AI which says there's an 80% chance that you'll get cancer. I don't see any additional value that it provides. It eases the doctor. You can always say, I'm not guilty. That computer said so. That's why I'm telling you that. But that's not really the real thing. AI, the way it's being used is how less wrong can I be rather than how more correct can I be. If AI and statistics, the way machine learning and all that works, is able to give you a go no go answer, it's able to give you 0 or 100%, or it's able to give you a more right answer. So in the sense that if the doctor can say 87% and it can say 99%, then that's the difference. But it is only doing something which is less wrong. It's not doing something that's more right. So if doctors make mistakes 10% of the time and an AI makes mistakes 8% of the time, it's doing less wrong rather than I'm being more accurate 95% of the time versus a doctor being accurate 90% of the time. There's a difference in the way you look at it. And less wrong is no better than anything else. You got to be more correct rather than less wrong.
Yeah.
Now that I've confused you with the whole issue of more correct and less wrong.
No, I kind of get it though.
But lots of fun innovations happening all over the world.
What did you think of that what that movie we saw with the AI? What was it called again? Like Deus Ex? Or...
Huh?
It was the AI movie. I think it was just called AI actually. The one we saw with Marquez.
Yeah. That was it was not called AI. It was called something else. What do you call robot which looks like a human?
Android.
Android. I think it's called Android or something. I love that movie because it tries to. First of all, one of the lessons you learn is you can't get it right the first time. You got to try again. So he tried multiple times to get an Android.
There were a
working.
ton of them.
And he tried different things. The second thing that was very interesting about in that movie was the quote unquote bioengineering they're going. Everything is mechanical, but it looks so real. So I don't know if the hands had muscles, but it was easily fittable and it linked up nicely, so it was built in parts.
Like how to make fake skin look like real skin. Like
or more important, the thing underneath too, the muscles.
This is a very big like thing in like bioelectronics, basically like making like hydrogels or different things that can easily fit on the skin or look like skin or just blend in so that
and
they look better.
And the other thing is that we all know about the Turing test. If a computer can fool you into thinking that it's not a computer, if it can interact with you for a certain period of time, and you think it's not a computer but a human being, then it has passed the Turing test. That's the Turing test, right?
Yes.
And in this case, this particular final version of the person, that the girl that he's made, seems to have conquered that, seems to have passed the Turing test because it was able to manipulate the guy into doing what she
Not
wanted him to do.
just that, at the end of the movie, the plane, it and everything, like taking off and like them like letting her on the plane and everything, or like letting her like get off the area that they were in, just shows that people are just, they think not just him, not just the other guy in the actual area, but the outside world is also fooled about who she really is.
Yeah, and I'm sure they'll have a follow-on movie which shows what she does in the world.
Oh, I'll wait for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, bioelectronics really cool. So is AI.
So interesting. We'll have to wait and see how things go. They all the other things come into play: security, privacy, all that stuff. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
I want to see that movie called "A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum."
I've heard about it.
It's about Julius Caesar.
My Latin teachers in high school, like he wouldn't quote it, but he would talk highly about it. He would say it's really funny.
Yeah, it's supposed to be very funny. You know, Julius Caesar was killed on the Ides of March on the way to the Forum. So they probably made a funny movie.
Yeah.
Lots of interesting things I learned about the Romans. Consuls would sit. All the magistrates had a chair which had no back. You know that.
Yeah.
And they had to sit 1 foot up, and the second foot should be behind always. So that's the way they. So and consuls had to sit for hours. Those magisterial positions, they had to sit for hours and hours, listening to court cases and this and that. You know, so it's a painful way to sit and listen. So they try to dispose of case real fast, and they would try to get on with their stuff. So it's interesting. But as with everything else, the rich lived very well in Rome. The poor suffered. There were slaves. There were bad stuff. The paterfamilias concept. So I'm the paterfamilias in our house. So it's if I say crucify that servant, the guy gets crucified. Crucifixion was very common in the Roman days. So what they did to Jesus Christ,
it just
was
makes
not
me
new.
sick just thinking about crucifixion. Like, I don't know. They always in churches they always have that like the cross and then Jesus on the cross. It just is painful for me to think about. Like, then I don't want to talk about it, but it's pretty painful to think about. Like,
Caesar was an interesting guy, even though he was the son of a senator. His dad was not a very polished public persona. He was one of those backbench senators who never got to speak and was an ordinary guy. And he himself lived in the poor part of Rome called Subura. But that way he built up his street cred. He got to know the street gangs. And when he was fighting for political power, he called on his friends in the street gangs to come and help him in the forum. And they would come and help him.
so they would like beat people up in the forum.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Beat other people up, non-Caesar faction people. So if Caesar wanted to get elected, they'd just get a whole bunch of Caesar people in there to the forum. Because the way it was done with whoever could fit in the forum. Rome was originally very small. Then it became a big city with 1 million. Originally, it was very small. It had like a few thousand people. So whoever fit in the forum were the people who were elected. So that space was large enough. It fitted 1,000 people. The rest couldn't get in. Those 1,000 people come and vote, and you're done.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have too many families. You barely had, when Rome was started, you had barely 6 families. Then, by the time Caesar came along, there were not necessarily 1 million people, but a few 100,000 people. But most of them were not Romans. You had to be Roman by birth. You had to be born to one of those first few families.
Bloodline, like pure bloodline.
Yeah, the rest were just people that were there, the Italians. They were really called the Italians. The Romans are called the Romans.
Oh, okay, so it was there was definitely a distinction, and like
Yeah.
were they treated lesser because they were
Oh,
not
absolutely.
okay?
A Roman could not be
Well, not cool, but like I understand. Yeah.
hitting a Roman was punishable. You couldn't charge or you couldn't put a Roman in jail without trial. As I said, raising a hand against a Roman was considered punishable by death. Romans could do anything they wanted, but the rest could not do anything. So being a Roman was a huge, big thing. So when each one of those consuls, as they took part and they wanted to get your vote, they said, I'm going to make you a Roman. They'd get your vote, then they'd make you Roman. Then you'll, ha ha, I'm a Roman. And you'd have all those privileges, not just in Rome, but even overseas. Overseas, if a Roman representative came, they got to meet the king. Nobody could stop them because it was Rome. So it was sending an emissary, not just anybody. So it was interesting. Anyways, sorry about that.
No, that's okay. We're not the yawn police.
The armed police.
No.
So, why don't we do one thing?
Yeah.
Next time, what we'll do is we'll have something like 4 or 5 topics, and we'll talk about each of those for 10 minutes. Then we'll have 40 minutes of real stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe we can prepare too. Comedy. This are the 14 things we can say about comedy. These are the 15 things we can say about blah. Space exploration. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, we could definitely look into that.
So what's the time right now? 9:24.
Yeah. So we done like 32 minutes.
32 minutes. You got a lot of editing to do before you put up a 6-minute.
I'm thinking about
YouTube
just
video.
putting up the raw, uncut, like just us talking, make it.
You're not gonna identify you and me, right? You're just gonna say you're gonna create a fake name and put it on YouTube with a fake name.
Yeah, I mean,
This is what you can do.
yeah.
Okay. Then
Do you not want that? Do you want that?
yeah. That's better.
What do you
I mean,
think
if
of?
people who know me see this video, then they know it's me.
What do you think of Ludo?
Ludo was interesting. So the first 2 guys who are playing Ludo are like playing God. They know what's going to happen.
The guy's actually playing Ludo. Like the
Yeah,
board game.
yeah. They know what's going to happen. The guy says that entire Chupatpatti is going to get blown apart in at 9:30. And it happens at 9:30. So they know what's going to happen. So the bad part to that is that it is not framed well. So Ludo is, I don't know. Ludo is a game. It's not like chess. Ludo is a game where you move. There's a great amount of chance and all that, and not much thinking. I mean, you can do so on and so forth. Whereas the story itself was interesting. It was a patchwork of incidents that happened that all get linked in, and then kind of in the end, most people end up living happily ever after with a lot of money. It had no moral. The story had no moral, other than kill a lot of people, make a lot of money, go enjoy yourself.
I mean, no. I mean, I think its main moral was like, life is kind of like a game of chance, and you might have something at the beginning or at certain parts of this game of life, but you might lose it in a bit, or it might get taken from you.
But your moral values, your inbuilt values what will sustain you. It's like the guy who dies. Bitu.
Bitu
He was
was
strong, he was nice, he was correct, he tried to do the right thing.
he was my favorite character in the entire movie.
He was a hero, he was the Amitabh Bachchan's son. So that's why he got that role, I guess. Yeah, so he dies, but he's stuck to his stuck to his goals, stuck to what he thought he wanted to do the right thing.
Yeah, I also liked the guy who worked at like the shopping area, like the Walmart type place,
Yeah. A guy,
who like
a pure chance.
who was in love with the girl who couldn't speak Hindi.
Yeah, Malayali girl.
Yeah.
She was Malayali. Yeah. He was not in love initially, but they meet and then things happen and all that stuff. Yeah, she was a Malayali girl. She acted quite well to be as a Malayali. Probably was a Malayali, anyways. And yeah, yeah. He was an okay guy.
Yeah, I liked him.
Then there was the other guy who was stupidly in love with that. No, was he in this movie?
I didn't like him that much. Yeah, he was the chef that you
Yeah,
we,
chef guy. Chef
we don't
guy.
really know. We don't see his like restaurant that much. But
Yeah,
he's
we
a
know.
chef.
Chef guy. Of course, a bad guy who shoots everybody. He also ultimately ends up getting a lot of money and enjoying life towards the end. Kind of.
I thought that was comedy. I just thought the part with the bad guy and the nurse was just pure comedy. I think it was just the comedic part of the movie.
Funny thing is that he also ended up surviving, but a bit too late.
Yeah. I would have traded Bito for him any day.
Shall we adjourn?
Yeah, let's adjourn.